This is the Georgia Farm Monitor. Since 1966, your source for state and national agribusiness news, and features for farmers and consumers about Georgia's #1 industry, agriculture. The Georgia Farm Monitor is produced by the state's largest general farm organization, the Georgia Farm Bureau. Now, here are your hosts, Ray DeLessio and Kenny Burgamy.
All right, hi there. Whether you're up early at the crack of dawn watching this or binge watching on the DVR, we are just thankful you chose to spend time with us. Welcome to the Georgia Farm Monitor, everybody. I'm Ray DeLessio.
And I'm Kenny Burgamy. If you're a regular to the show, then you know this is where we tell you what's coming up. So here goes. Coming up, a must-see for all veterans or family and friends of veterans who know firsthand the effects of being on the front line. Today, we'll meet a former soldier who's turning a donated piece of land into a farming sanctuary for military veterans in need.
Also on the show, Georgia Farm Bureau President Gerald Long, in his own words, his passion for agriculture and why he feels he's the right man for the job.
And then later, join us as we hit the road to Helen, Georgia and tour a Georgia icon, the Norah Mill Granary. These stories and so much more starting right now on the Georgia Farm Monitor.
As you know, many Georgians depend on a well to provide their households with water. And even though well water is very safe, officials with UGA Extension recommend testing that well on a regular basis. And that is where your local extension agent comes into play. The Monitor's Mark Wildman has the story.
Every day we work in the kitchen using water to cook with and, of course, to make that all-important coffee in the morning without thinking about water quality. But for those using well water, it is important to have your water tested. Forsyth County Extension Agent Heather Kolich works to educate citizens about the importance of proper testing.
Well, once a year it's recommended that you have a basic minerals test, a microbial test, a test for nitrates, and a test for turbidity and color.
Anyone with a well should make sure they take time to have a basic water test.
It tests for 16 different metals that may be dissolved into your water. It tests for pH and hardness as well. We need to take that test after the water has been off for at least 6 hours, but not more than 12 hours. So a good time to do that is first thing in the morning when you get up. You're just going to take a 4-ounce bottle, which you can come by your local extension office and pick up a bottle, or you can use any clean glass or plastic bottle with a lid that you have in the house, and put that under the faucet. And under your cold water faucet, slowly fill it with that fresh water that hasn't been run for at least 6 hours.
If you have not had your well water tested for at least 3 years, UGA recommends doing an expanded basic test,
which has the 16 minerals, the hardness, the pH, but it also includes 3 other tests that are going to be good diagnostic tools. So that takes 500 milliliters to do that test.
Georgia has experienced periods of very heavy rainfall, and because of that rain, certain contaminants like E. coli and other environmental bacteria can affect well water. UGA has testing kits that are available for purchase at your local extension office. This test comes with detailed instructions and a prepaid shipping label.
You do need to clean your faucet before you take that test. Use undiluted chlorine bleach to clean that faucet outside, inside, wipe it off really good, and then run your water, your cold water, for at least 3 minutes before you put the vial under there. Then you're going to break the seal, take the lid off, and being very careful not to touch anything inside the vial, slowly fill it with cold water from the tap. There's a stabilizing powder inside the vial that you need to make sure you leave in there, and put your date and time on the top, and then overnight that to the lab, and they will test that for the microbes.
Another advanced test that is available for purchase at your local extension office is a test for radon, which can be a source of contamination in many counties.
Radon actually comes with 2 vials. You're going to pull 2 samples on that. That is primarily for the upper Piedmont area where we have crystalline aquifers. That can be a source of radon contamination in the water. And the instructions for that are in the box. That is also overnighted straight to the lab.
Even though it seems like a lot of work, it is not. Results are emailed back to citizens within 7 to 10 days, and of course, extension agents are available to answer any questions or concerns. In Forsyth County, I'm Mark Wildman for the Georgia Farm Monitor.
Thank you, Mark. While it might not be the most well-known commodity in Georgia, timber accounted for more than $600 million in the state's economy last year. Recently, the Monitor's Damon Jones took a look at one company in Blue Ridge, putting that product to good use, building state-of-the-art log homes.
All along the rolling hills of North Georgia, you're likely to see plenty of green. That's exactly what the state sees as well, as Georgia is the nation's second largest timber producer. And that's good news for the Sisson Company, as they buy the product in its raw form by the truckloads.
Timber people haul the logs into our mill. We weigh them and pay them by the ton. We saw them into cants and dimensional size lumber. From there they go into a dry kiln where they're dried.
After spending weeks in the kiln, the wood is finally dry enough to be processed and shaped into the beautiful architecture seen in these log homes that the company specializes in.
We have planers. We plane the lumber into dimensional lumber, such as framing, 2x4s, 2x6s, and also paneling, which is used for interior walls. And the larger timbers we use to make logs for log homes.
Now, even though log homes is somewhat of a niche market, that doesn't mean there isn't a constant demand. In fact, it's so much so that the builders are having a tough time keeping pace.
At the moment, we can't keep up with the demand, especially for the completed houses we build. Right now, we've got a backlog of orders. Of course, at one time, a few years ago, we had a backlog of 85 homes to build.
While these homes might look rustic, they are very state-of-the-art and are actually more energy efficient than houses built with insulation.
A lot of people wonder if you can heat them, and it's a lot more efficient than an insulated home, because once the house is heated or cooled, the R value is much, much higher than with a standard insulated home.
So, as you can see, for the wood to go from this to this, it must first go through a number of different processes.
The log is cut in the forest till the time it gets to a house. It goes through many hands. And especially nowadays, since more of the wood is utilized.
And that's really the biggest difference within the industry today. Instead of throwing away or burning the byproducts, they are now being used in a number of different ways.
The bark of the tree is used for landscaping mulch. The sawdust today is used for by the poultry industry, and they fight over it. The shavings, as you saw earlier, goes into bags and is sold for pet bedding. Without using those products today, you couldn't stay in business very long.
Reporting from Blue Ridge, I'm Damon Jones for the Georgia Farm Monitor.
All right, Damon, thank you so much. Now, up next on the Monitor.
The mission will be over until every vet is accounted for. And I believe that as a nonprofit organization, the success of our organization would be to put ourselves out of business.
How a former soldier has made it his new mission to provide comfort to fellow veterans using agriculture. Stay with us.
My granddaddy farmed, my daddy farmed. When I came back from college and military, then that's what I wanted to do, was to farm. And we farmed as sort of as partnerships, you know, up for a number of years till he retired, and then I took over. This piece of property we're standing on next year will be the centennial year of it. We grow around 280 acres of peanuts. We normally grow 600 acres of cotton. We have something over 500 head of brood cows. The vegetable business, we started this 31 years ago, and it's evolved into about 120 acres of U-Peak vegetables. First of all, we started back years ago in the commercial production. And I saw that was not going to work for me, so we started the U-Pick operation some 31 years ago. And as our customer base grew, and as they requested it, I would plant them some other type crop. We grew as our customer base grew, and now we grow some 50 plus different varieties of vegetables. I'm I'm considered a workhorse. I enjoy working. I don't mind working. I guess probably because I'm the third generation farmer. Justin is the fourth. It is strictly a hands-on, family-run farm. Either Justin or myself does all of the planning. We don't expect other people to do the work for us. It is a family operation, and I've told several people that thought they wanted to get into the U-pick vegetable business that you better have a willing, strong wife and family that will support you with it, because it takes her working up here, managing the retail sales part, managing the customers as we're managing the crops in the field. I've been a member of Farm Bureau since 1970. I saw an opportunity in 1999 to run for the 9th District Board of Directors. And then in 2006, I had the opportunity to run for South Georgia Vice President. And it's just been a privilege to travel all over Georgia, North Georgia, South Georgia, Middle Georgia, East Georgia, West Georgia, wherever, and see that even though we have different commodities that are grown, but we all pretty much have the same issues. And this gives me an opportunity to see those issues and to work through those issues and try to make it better for the farmers back on the farm. I'm a person that believes in honesty and integrity. I think that's very important. But leadership carries it further than that. As leaders, we have to step up. We have to make hard, difficult decisions that can affect all of our members. But as a leader, we have to do that, and I'm willing to do that. I'm willing to take chances. I'm willing to expand my operation, and I want to carry that over into this organization to be able to expand this organization however we can do it to better represent the membership.
In a study by the U.S. Army, it was determined that 1 in every 8 of the soldiers returning from Iraq and Afghanistan suffer from PTSD, also known as post-traumatic stress disorder. Now, even more concerning is less than half of them seek out some type of treatment or help. But in Milledgeville, Georgia, there's one soldier who has made it his mission to provide fellow veterans a safe and productive outlet from the adverse effects of war.
Yeah, I love this pig, man. He's just a good guy. He spoils us a lot.
With his gentle touch and caring voice, one would never guess that John Jackson battles PTSD and traumatic brain trauma on a daily basis. Between 2005 and 2012, Jackson served 6 tours of duty in both Iraq and Afghanistan and lost many friends along the way. But more upsetting to this soldier is what he experienced once the fighting was done and he returned home to civilian life.
You come back to the States, you got a lot of things going on where you used to be doing a lot of different things concurrent at one time, and you come back to the States and the out-tempo of the States don't work how you were used to in the battlefield. Our animal brains kick in the battlefield. It doesn't know the that you've changed geographical locations from the battlefield to here, and you're still in go, go, go mode.
So to help with that difficult transition, Jackson founded Stag Vets Incorporated, a nonprofit organization dedicated to providing the best care and treatment for war veterans in need. That led to the creation of Comfort Farms, a 20-acre complex named for Jackson's friend Kyle Comfort, who was killed in action on May 8th of 2010. Why the concept of farming? When other guys come back from overseas and come back from the military, they may get into some other military career. Why farm life for these veterans?
One of the reasons that a lot of veterans are getting into farming is because we're bringing back to it the team unit cohesion type thing, where we're working together to establish, something that's real critical right now, which is food. Food security, whole and natural foods on a local level. Those are things that America is really trying to crack the code on. But those are things that veterans, and in the way that we're doing it, we are infusing our vets into the system that we can crack the code, and we're cracking the code on it. We have the answer to how can we solve our food issues and our problems. Veterans can come into that. We can teach them how to farm, how to do agriculture, get back into there, claim a stake in America's heartland, and give back to the communities in ways that have never been done before. So it's a new mission.
But for those veterans who accept the mission of working on Comfort Farms, Jackson says they do so with an understanding that the farm is not only a comfort zone, it's also a business model with a very bright future.
The high-end food industry want local, sustainable food. You know, organizations, institutions, universities, they all want sustainable food. They want food that's grown local and that's grown with ethics and morality. So that's what we're teaching here. That's who we're going to be our main customers. On the flip side of that, we feel that good food, healthy, whole, natural, sustainable food should not just be something for the rich. We feel that in the lowest socioeconomic ladder that folks should have access to good, clean, organic food as well. And so that was another things that we're going to tackle. The food, the byproduct of our institutions is also going to be filtered into our communities.
Something else that makes Comfort Farms unique is that everything you see here was made possible through donations. We're talking the hoop house, the electric fence, the land itself, even the animals. Something like that would take years to build up, correct? No, all this in just 2 months.
You know, $1 sent to here is $1 going into the program. You know, it's like, and I want people to see that, hey, you know, you give to this program, this is what you're getting out of the program. This is what it's going to. I think it's real important that that people are able to see where their donations are going to. We're as transparent as possible what we're doing with funds, what we're doing with resources, because we need them.
And my final question for you, I guess I'll put it in terms you can understand, military terms. Is the mission over?
Never over. The mission is not over. And let me take that back. The mission will be over until every vet is accounted for. And I believe that as a nonprofit organization, the success of our organization would be to put ourselves out of business. So when we are able to address every veteran need, and we go over a fine-tooth comb of all the homeless veterans and all the displaced veterans and all the veterans who are suffering from PTSD silently, and able to give those veterans who have suicidal thoughts a place to express their concerns to. You know, when we're able to do that in a way, I really think that's going to be the truest impact of what my organization, Stag Vets, is about, and what creating Comfort Farms, the impact of what we're going to be able to do is just going to be enormous. And then at that point, when we're able to say that the last veteran has been accounted for, leaving no comrade behind, then I can say, mission success.
Now, if you would like more information on Stag Vets Incorporated or Comfort Farms, log on to the address you see there on your screen. That is stagvetsinc.org. You can also find them on Facebook.
When the Monitor continues, we head to Helen, Georgia, and tour a fully operational grist mill, one of the few that still grind corn to this day. Stay with us.
As long as there have been cotton fields, there have been ups and downs. Prices rise, and then they fall. Challenges and hard times come, and then they go. But no matter what else happens, cotton is always there. Because these soft, white fields have always provided one of our most renewable, sustainable resources. One that Americans have relied upon for centuries to clothe us and provide for our families, and still do today. For 50 years, a public-private partnership formed by U.S. cotton producers has worked tirelessly to ensure that the future of cotton is always in capable hands. Because we know we can't just rely on what has worked in the past. We have to look forward to innovations in food production, to breakthroughs in fiber technology. The possibilities for cotton are limitless. And together, we are funding cutting-edge scientific research, award-winning advertising campaigns, and state-of-the-art manufacturing techniques to help this trusted, reliable crop find new markets for generations to come. This resource is renewable, and so is our future. It's time to renew your faith in cotton.
Finally today, this time of year, a lot of tourists like to hit the road and visit the mountains of North Georgia.
We found one stop that may be of interest. You'll find an operational grist mill in the foothills of White County. The Nora Mill Granary first opened in 1876. You'll find it sitting alongside the beautiful Chattahoochee River in White County, just outside of Helen.
140 years old. It is the same way that it was done 140 years ago. We are still completely water powered, completely operational, same stone, same turbine. We are producing whole grain products, all done in-house, nothing added, and no preservatives, none of that, and it's good quality product. And to say that we're still doing it the way they were doing it 140 years ago, still water powered right off the river behind us.
Where do we get our corn? We get it from Kentucky. We need the same corn every time. Unfortunately, in Georgia, there's only a handful of people that do food-grade corn. Most of it's agricultural ethanol. And ours has to be dried different for the aflatoxins. We need a certificate of analysis with our corn. It's not like it used to where everybody brought corn in here. There's nobody around here that grows enough corn. Last fiscal year, we did almost 350,000 pounds of corn.
Martin has been helping produce grits from corn at the mill since the 1980s.
Right now we're grinding grits on a 1876 working grist mill. It's powered by an actual water turbine from Rome, Georgia, 1876 outside. 50 times more powerful than a paddle wheel. The stones are from the Marne River Valley in France, 1876. These are pink granite from the Marne River Valley. The corn is brought over up grain elevators to my hopper, drops in via the shaker, goes in between the two stones. The two stones I can adjust to make it coarser or finer. And you never let the two stones touch. You never want the two stones to touch. So once I get it down to the proper depth, I start checking the smell. I smell to make sure that the two stones aren't touching. I'm smelling for the grindstone. The only way to make the stones last is by keeping your nose to the grindstone, stay focused, and everything will be all right. But you have to keep your nose to the grindstone.
Nora Mills in the Nakuchi Village has become a regular tourist stop for many folks that spend time in the mountains. Tommy Martin spends a lot of his time talking to visitors and tourists as they stop at Nora Mills. He said telling the story of the mill and how it still works is the favorite part of his job.
And it was just a natural fit for me, and I'm just real blessed to be around. I got to work for Grandpa, too, who was born in 1897. A lot of my local history, if you want to know about history, come in here and ask me. I get talking about the mill, and if the people are wanting to really hear the history, I'll bother them with it. And if not, they sort of start walking away from me. But a lot of the history I learned, I've spoken at historical societies, but a lot of that history was from the old timers. And I've worked now for 4 generations of this family.
Very nice job, Kenny. Got to give you a fist bump for that one.
Thank you.
Nice job. That is going to do it for this week's edition of the Georgia Farm Monitor.
Now, just a reminder for all the latest ag info regarding food, great recipes, and what's happening down on the farm, be sure and check out our Twitter, Facebook, and Pinterest pages. You'll stay informed and see what's up in the world of farming and the Farm Monitor Show.
Take care, everybody. We will see you next week right here on the Georgia Farm Monitor.
Have a great week.